Welcome to Inside Sim Racing and our continuing coverage of E3 2016. And today we are checking out Dirt Rally with the Oculus CV1. So CV1 support will be coming to Dirt Rally in the near future. According to the representative there from Codemasters, he said it's about a month out. And this just wasn't our first opportunity trying out Dirt Rally with the consumer version of the Oculus Rift, but also the first time I got to try out the Oculus Rift itself. So I'm going to talk a little bit how it performed in terms of Dirt Rally and just talk about the Oculus Rift in general with my first experience with it. So you may have noticed that the game is definitely running at lower graphical settings, and that's because the PC is only running a GTX 970, which is the minimum graphics card that you need to run the Oculus. So everything's turned off in the name of frames per second, and I have to say it ran smoothly, so mission accomplished there. With that said though, I was a bit shocked at the lack of resolution of the CV1. Again, I know the graphical settings were turned way down, but I've run Dirt Rally with these very low settings as well, and this wasn't settings related, this was just resolution. And it was definitely a major downtrot from a monitor. But with that said, so put away your pitchforks, VR fanboys. This is very much in development, and I know it can look better. The videos I've seen of Assetto Corsa and iRacing looked better than this, and maybe that's due to some of the pixel per display pixel settings that I know those titles have, and maybe that hasn't been used yet in Dirt Rally, but I know it can look better, and I'm sure it will look better as development progresses. Another thing that I noticed that you're seeing right now on screen is when you're going over jumps, the car rotates up and then down, but your head stays still, so you end up, when you come off the jump, you're really looking at a lot of the ceiling, and I'm hopeful that that's another thing that Codemasters will work on in the future, because it seems kind of odd. I wish your head traveled down with the car like you were in the car, but I do hope that gets changed, because it is a little odd seeing the car rotate around you, but you're not rotating yourself as I go and ruin a perfectly good run hitting that giant rock. Now, something else that I noticed with the Oculus Rift and VR that I was kind of surprised by is it's a bit of a tunnel vision. I'm used to running 3 monitors with 180 degrees of screen, and there's the link to my setup. And I'm very used to seeing the world kind of whip by me on the side monitors out my peripheral vision. And with the Oculus, you don't really have that. You're tunneled into the vision just right in front of you, and even though it's a couple times I looked to the right just to kind of like see what it was like over there, because you just don't get that peripheral vision, that sense of speed of things whipping by. Now you have a sense of speed in terms of being in the world, and that's more immersive, and especially in an E3 setting when there's a lot going on around you, it's really cool to have all those distractions out of the way. But I was just surprised by how tunneled I feel with only looking right in front of you. And I have to say, it kind of broke some immersion for me from what I'm used to on a triple screen setup that has a 180-degree field of view. So now I want to touch on wearing the actual CV1. And I have to say, it was a lot lighter than I expected and very comfortable, but I can definitely see it getting pretty warm if you use it for a while. So we're getting down towards the end of this run, but I still have a whole lot more to talk about. So we're going to loop this video back so I can talk a little more, and we'll just watch the same replay again.
That was good.
Look at that hair. That was something that I've been concerned about, and people kind of laugh at, but that looks terrible. I'm not going to be able to film after doing a session with VR because my hair is going to look terrible. I mean, if you're follically challenged, then no big deal, but for those of us who spend way too much time working on our hair, that's going to be a problem. One thing that was a bit of a struggle wearing it was wearing it with my glasses. The Oculus barely fit around the glasses, which, to be fair, they are larger glasses, but more than anything, it was just the pushing of the glasses against my face. I mean, my face, glasses, Oculus were all shoved in there real tight, and if I was to own a VR headset, I would definitely have to go get smaller glasses to wear while I game. So that was a little bit of a negative, but like I said, you can get some smaller glasses, and I'm sure that'd be a way to work around that. Now, when I was driving, I had a couple times where I got a bit lightheaded, and kind of like my head was floating a little bit, and maybe that was due to me not being able to see my arms on the wheel since those were disabled, but it definitely felt a little odd. With that said, it was pretty minor, and I could definitely see that going away once I got acclimated to VR, so that really isn't a concern for me. So with all that said, let's wrap up this video of Dirt Rally running VR on the Oculus Rift CV1. Like I said at the beginning, it'll be coming out in about a month or maybe 3 weeks now, or maybe longer, because you just never know how this stuff works when it comes to software. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting first try of the Oculus. There were certain aspects of it that I thought were cool. I thought it was cool that you do tune out the rest of the world, you put the headphones on and you are in the world. And then there were some things I didn't care for. Like I said, the resolution was definitely very low. I expected it to get better, but I know it's not going to be as good as like my fancy monitors. And also, at tunnel vision, that was almost more of a disappointment than anything. I knew resolution was going to be down, but there was just a bit of an immersion-breaking deal to me having that tunneled forward vision. I just didn't really have the peripheral vision, which is odd because I didn't expect that where you're like in the world, and that's really the selling point of VR. But I definitely wish that there was just a little more screen, a little more wraparound effect, but that wasn't there, so that was surprising. But with that said, I'm sure if you're an Oculus owner and you love it, and you're a fan of Dirt Rally, you'll be real excited to see this in the next big update. And if you aren't familiar with Dirt Rally, check out the live panel review that we did of it a couple weeks ago, a new format that we're trying out, and I think it worked pretty well. As always, if you enjoy the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you didn't enjoy the video or you think I'm a VR hater, go ahead and dislike it. You have that power. Please come by our website, isrtv.com, for the latest news, reviews, and our forums. Also, check out the Amazon affiliate link in the description below. Just click on it and shop on Amazon like you always do. It doesn't cost you a thing and kicks back a little bit towards us. Thanks for watching Inside Sim Racing. I'm John Sable. See you guys next time.